What do I do here? We can't go any further. We'll need to activate some switch. I'll defend and let him just take care of this. Yeah, level 2 is so much faster. What novels have I read? None. I have not read any like martial arts novels, so for me this is all new material. I'm glad you don't have too much difficulty understanding them. Yeah, I can tell you are much more versed in reading this stuff than I am. So it's like, if in some ways you would be more qualified to do a stream of this game. But I guess like the hard part is like you need to be able to stream this game. And I guess I have my own charming personality. But in seriousness, like I guess like I have a good grasp of English, so I can kind of wing my way through some of this crap. And I guess that's the hard part, is like, it's one thing to be able to understand these games, it's another to be able to translate it. And I think that's the hard part. Localization is always the hard part. Yeah, the idioms, like, they start repeating the same idioms over and over again. I've noticed that, like, I learned some idioms that way too, where I just hear it all the time, and then they were like, oh, now I know what it meant. Or you can gather from context. The only problem is, like, even if you can gather from context what the idiom means, it's hard to, like, get a good English meaning for it sometimes. Because sometimes it's really, really tough. Like, even, like, a simple example, like, 画蛇添足 is like, why would you, like, that's, it's called, like, there's an idiom called drawing a snake and adding legs to it. 画蛇添足. Oh yeah, well, my English should be better. Well, I have used English for a very, very long time. But yeah, even like an idiom like that, that's basically 画蛇添足is like, when you draw legs on the snake, it means like you're adding something unnecessary. And so you kind of have to like think about like, okay, how do I want to say this within the sentence? Should I say like, should I translate it literally and say like, oh, let the English viewer figure out what the idiom means just by hearing the literal translation? Or should I just just straight up just change the sentence so it just says what it means? And like, it's just kind of, it just sucks to you have to make those decisions. But generally, obviously, I should just tell you what the idiom means straight up, because there's almost no point. If I told you the literal translation, you wouldn't understand it. You'd lose the context. I think it's funny, I think the most apt one we've had is like, when we use, there's an idiom called 井底之蛙, or, which is like, a frog in a well, which is about the story about a frog in the well who basically thought the entire world was all he could see was the entire world, and another frog was telling him, hey, you know, there's a world outside, but the frog in the well refused to come out. He's like, nah, I've seen everything, I don't need to come out. And like, it's funny because there's a character in, to not spoil, there's a character in Undertale who is a literal frog and is also basically the epitome of that idiom. Oh, the snake and frog idioms? Yeah, I know, I'm explaining it again. I'm sorry, those are the only idioms I know. No, ow. My favorite one is Bantu or Fei, because that's my life. No, done. 2000 EXP for your trouble. Alright, the water has been filled. I should go grab that chest that I left back there. Oh, I could be Xingxuan. Honestly, he's a cool character. He's a cool guy and not afraid of anything. But in seriousness, of course he's afraid of something. Are you blocking something here, sir? Hi. Yeah, you notice that translating on the fly is much more difficult. If I translated everything ahead of time, then that would actually be... I mean, I have contemplated, like, should I just play the game should I just play, like, the section before I show the stream, so that way I've translated everything ahead of time? But at the same time, I don't know, it's just such a hassle to do that. Like, I honestly contemplated, like, if it's even more effective. Because, like, one thing I don't like when I hear some, like, translated streams is just, like, I have to stutter and I have to figure out things. And sometimes I have to waste time because I have to, like, think about, like, ways of getting around it. Fingering at the sentence structure. So, I sometimes struggle with this where I'm like, I'm not sure whether I should be playing the game twice, basically playing a section of the game once, and then like translating it and then presenting it onto the stream the next day. But then like you lose the you lose like just the raw reactions you get to some of the more like crazy things that happen in some of these games, and I don't know if I like that much. I know, people like true first reactions, like that's half the fun, or else it's just if I knew everything ahead of time, then it'd just be like, So it's kind of like, I don't know what the goal, it's hard, because like, at the same time, it's a hassle to play a same section twice. Imagine if I had to play this dungeon 2 times, I would just go nuts. If I had to play some of these dungeons twice just to tell you things. I mean, I could possibly do it where I'm like, okay, I just skip all the story section. I only play this until the story section. I go through the story section and I just make a check on it, and like that's entirely possible, but not my ideal at all. Oh, I think I'm back where I started, right? Yeah, I am. I don't want to go there. That's where the mouse is. I don't want to do that. So, I sometimes struggle with this, of whether or not this is more about my experience, or whether I should be translating this as best as I can. Honestly, though, yeah, your friend is more industrious. Yeah, in watching your other playthroughs would that's kind of like, I don't want to do that, because then all the surprise is lost. And I kind of enjoyed playing these blind and like with my own experience, and like you can see how I problem solve through some of these worser sections. So I'm not sure. Like your friend is more industrious, where he already knew what ahead of time. So that's that is a legitimate way to get through the game. But I don't know. I don't really want to make this extra work. It's really hard. Poor things, getting poisoned. Anyway, you guys are all weak. No levels. Oh, another fire one? Alright, your twin brother must now do his work. Yay! You have attained a manto. And Nangohan grew to level 72. Yeah, for Shenyuan 1, there's actually... Oh yeah, let me go ahead and explain. I mean, you guys know about this already because I've already talked about it. But for everyone else on the stream, whoever's, like, I guess for whoever is going to see this, whether on YouTube or not, there is another series of games that is also one of the early, like... one of the earliest games to really present this kind of setting into the gaming world, which is called The Sword of the Yellow Emperor, or Xuanyuan Jian. It is, it's a series that's much more, well, it's also very fantastical, but like one nice interesting thing about it is that it actually tries to make sure to take place it tries to keep itself historically accurate. So whereas in Shenzhen, like this is kind of like a, it's not, there's really no set time period. There is some semblance of like I adhere to some dynasty, but it's kind of like, it's kind of all over the place really, and they never say like, oh, this is the time of blah 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 blah. And this is more of like a fantastical China version of China, which has a lot of resemblance to the real one, but there's a lot of things that are different. One thing, at least for Shenyuan, they try to keep it like, okay, this takes place in this period and this thing with these things were happening. In fact, actually, in Shenyuan Sword 3, or like the Sword of the Yellow Emperor 3, the game actually doesn't start in China. It actually starts off in Europe, in Venice, at the time of the Renaissance. And I always thought that was so cool because I love history is one of my subjects I really am. Oh yeah, by the way, I got the Holy Mantle, or the Holy Spirit. That's kind of funny. I'm like, as a Christian saying that, I'm like, wait, is this a Christian? I was gonna joke about, is this a Christian cloak? No, it's a cloak about Nuwa, who is, I guess, their Holy Spirit. Yeah, so XY will be, so like the Sword of the Yellow Emperor tries to keep it more historical, and I don't have anything here that I can equip, right? Nope. And that is one cool thing. And it'd be really cool to show off the third game at some point. I really did enjoy what I saw. The third game's pretty intense. Like, not in a bad way, but alas, that won't be for a long time. Yeah, so Shenyuan is very, very much tied to the historical period it belongs to. And like, even in the Shenyuan 3, you can see Charlemagne, the French monarch of the Franks at the time. So it'd be awesome to show some of those games off, but right now we're just trying to get through this series first. And honestly, like, yeah, I don't want to jump the gun. We can't jump the gun too much. Oh, I don't know if I went the wrong way, but I think I have to go this way. No, I went the wrong way, huh? Anyway, I've pretty much cleared this floor of all the enemies. Except the mouse in the front, but who cares? He can live. How do you live? Anyway, but the only thing is, like, Sword of the Yellow Emperor 1 takes place in China, obviously, but it is very, very rough. It is a very brutal game, and not in a good way. Because there's so much grinding involved. I don't need to go this way, I've already been here. I don't know if it would be, but it is possible to beat the game very, very fast because the game is very, very short with only like really like 3 major arcs. Ow. But that one I might just pre-translate everything ahead of time, only because like it doesn't make any sense. There's not much story to really show off. It's just a really cool like looking back into game history for China in particular. I love Chinese players, like even like some of my relatives from China, like take like for them they take it for granted that they see so many of these like wuxia games at all. So for them they're like, oh, it's so common. Who cares? Why do we have to why highlight it? Because like for Chinese players, there's a ton of these type of games as well. Yeah, I mean, like, given the era which Shenyuan 1 was built, 1989 or something like 1989, I can't remember. It's like something in the 80s. It's ridiculously old. I mean, grinding was very much a thing, not just for Chinese RPGs, but for Japanese ones as well, with Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. Very old games that are very, very they're pretty grindy. I mean, that was the one way to make your game last longer. All that grinding. Final Fantasy is no exception to the rule. And like, it would be really cool to shoot. I mean, Shenyuan 2 is a lot better. I've seen. Like, there's a bit more to it, and there's not many playthroughs of it on the internet because it's not attracted very much like a retro fan base like a lot of other games have from the 80s. Because, frankly, if you're an English speaker, you don't know it exists. Maybe. In terms of Metal Slime enemies, maybe there are some, but I don't know of any in the Legend of Sword, the Sword of the Yellow Emperor 1. But it would be cool to... Hopefully, I might have to look up some strategy of how to do it. I mean, there's a walkthrough of it, and it's pretty... I like the walkthrough's pretty funny, actually. Like, it was written by someone with a sense of, kind of like a funny sense of humor. So they joke about how, like, silly some of the things you have to do in the game are, like, in terms of grinding, or, like, what kind of enemies you have to fight. They're like, why would you do that? Or, like, why would he send you there, but you still have to do it? And I'm like, oh, you're right. Okay. Alright, we're not done. Let's go. We are not done. We're never done, huh? This game goes on forever. Yeah, some of those kite enemies are probably the toughest to deal with. There are plenty of resources, thankfully. The thoughts. Xuanyuan Sword's battle systems are pretty interesting too. I mean, the third game has a very interesting one where it's like... I'm still not even quite sure how it completely works yet, but I've seen I've seen Chinese Let's Play stream, like mainland Chinese Let's Play players go through it. The sad thing is, like, in terms of Chinese games, Twitch is probably not the best place to go if you want to see games being played from the Chinese market. Honestly, like, if I wanted to do a stream in Chinese, I'd probably be better served being on Douyu instead. Douyu. Because that's where all the Chinese viewers are. So it's just an interesting... Oh my gosh. What just happened? Oh gosh. Well, we just had a party wipe. Let's see. That's unusual. Bye now. Oh dear. This is really bad. The wind... There's too much wind. Bye-bye. Oh, that could have been a big disaster. Thankfully, we were able to run away, but we need to heal everybody. Thankfully, I've got plenty of ways to do that. Well, that was an interesting predicament. We barely survived. But thankfully, I don't have to restart the game, so... Yay for me. Wow. All that wind... The winds to get... I also didn't heal my party before that battle, so it's kind of my fault, too. I should have full healed them before. Ah, well. What can you do? What can you do? Kites are very dangerous. That's the first time an enemy actually threatened me. I'm not gonna save there because I could have just loaded. And the worst part is, like, that enemy is not guarding anything in particular, so that was a complete waste of time. Ah, whatever. Let's see what's over here. Ah, chest. She's like, bye now. Hi. Anyway, these hands are interesting. I've never seen these hands before. So this is a new enemy. Well, let's see if we can absorb the hand. Man, the mice have such funny sounds. Yeah, the kites just all use their strongest wind move, which will take down a party pretty quickly. Oh, it's the Monster Claw. I wonder why they changed the name to Demon Claw. Oh, I guess to make it so that, oh, this is a monster realm, even though that's a Demon Claw. It's weird how they changed some of the races of the enemies you can fight. One thing that's notably less, unlike in some of the other games, like you don't fight so many human enemies. I mean, given the plot of this game, it doesn't make sense that you'd run into a lot of them, but... You dead. Absorb. Hands waving at you. Oh, alright, more dungeon. Never ends, eh? Never ends. Excuse me. Hands. Oh, I managed to surprise him. Dead. Oh, these hands are pretty strong. Heal up. Yay! The back attack made it so we didn't take any damage. Yeah, so I basically have to go to Douyu to do any Chinese language streams. I was thinking about doing that for a game in the late night stream, and so instead of doing it here on Twitch, I'd have to do it at Douyu. But the problem is I'm not sure how to save the footage from Douyu yet. I have to research it a bit more. I don't even know, like, yeah, I don't know how fully featured it is. I have to make a Douyu account. Hi. Oh gosh. Ow. Man, it sucks that the poison takes up so much HP. And the focus there, gotta watch out for those hands, the diabolical hands. Oh, so much stuff. Let's see. Poison seems, yeah, poison's, I guess poison got a buff because I guess they were thinking it's too easy to deal with. Although at least it doesn't linger on like in Pokemon. Or like old Pokemon. Like some old games where poison stayed forever. Okay. Fortunately these feathered citizens are no match for my prowess. Oops. I was trying to just pick it off my ears for a second. Alright. Oh. This dungeon is way too long. Yeah, poison. Yeah, I remember in Pokemon they changed it. They made it so that poison wears off in battle. Wears off after you after your battle is over. I'm gonna grab it without this feathered citizen knowing, or not. And he's a bunch of hands in the end. Boo! Yeah, the end. Those kites are very dangerous. They're pretty tough to deal with. But in the end, they're just fodder for absorption. Yeah, I know. I have to figure out a chat on the stream in Douyu. Problem with Douyu is that it just like that site is just full of stuff, so it just slows computers down like crazy. If you have a you don't have a fast computer, I don't even know how Chinese players deal with it. I'm actually wondering how the Chinese gamers deal with how heavy that site is. I guess they just all have decent computers nowadays. I need more. Use my items, man. Who cares? You just get them all the time, and they're pretty. I have enough money to buy them straight up. Oh wait, I was supposed to use the spell. Oops. Ah, it's okay. I'll restore his spiritual power in just a second. His son. Oh, excuse me. Oops, not this. Not mouse foods. You're probably gonna sleep soon? Alright. That's fine. It's honestly a pretty boring dungeon, so I don't blame you for not also barely staying awake. Yeah, sadly this is not Persona 5, so not quite as exciting battle system. Nope, I don't want to use that. Yeah, the water drop sound is pretty soothing. Yes. I'll try to finish it. I think I can finish it before this morning. I don't know if you should tell. Oh. Jie. Jie means big sister in Chinese. Zeo Corvid is much farther than we are. So, yeah. Can't talk about it here. No spoilers for P5 here in this stream. Anyway, here's this babbling brook. Ah, these furballs are so fast. So you can't really avoid getting poisoned. It sucks. But it's okay. Doesn't matter. Under my absorption spell, they're all weaklings. He's very far. Wen Hui grew to level 70. Xing Xuan grew to level 70. Ah, here's the tree. Finally. Okay, never mind. I'll take care of it. Easy. Huh. Nan Gong Huang just can't hit any spells today. Hit traps today, huh? Ooh, leaves. Yeah, I mean... Oh. I can drain the water. And we gotta go around. Ah, the worst part is just backtracking and finding all the places you couldn't go the first time. Excuse me.